So, this is day one of the 3-day sexual empowerment training. Welcome, everyone. And today we're going to talk about your sex and you. So, today's training is all about um, sexuality and you and your relationship. So, sex is all about relationships, it's about your relationship with your emotions. It's about your relationship with your body, with your mindset and your beliefs. And ultimately, your sex is about you. It's all about you. And when I talk about your relationship with your body, so we're going to go through each of these points. So sex is way more than you and somebody else, right? So obviously that's why I say that your relationship, that sex is all, your sex is about you, because it begins with you. You have to have a right relationship with your body, with your mind, with your emotions in order to have good sex, right? Because you can have sex with somebody without having balance and relationship with all of those aspects of you. However, if you want good sex, if you want sex that feels full and exciting and pleasurable and passionate and that is soulful, which this is what I'm all about, and this is what I teach, and this is what this training is all about. It's about the kind of sex that is soulful and sacred, and it's about sacred union, right? So it's about aspects of yourself that come together to form the complete whole. And then when you expand that out, which we'll talk about tomorrow, when you expand that out with a partner, it's about when you and your partner come together to form that union. So today we're going to be talking about the parts of you that have been kind of what's the word? Have been, I'm imagining like a bomb, and everything just flew out into pieces. So I've been taken apart, compartmentalized, and broken apart into pieces. And so we're going to talk about those parts of you that need to be brought back together. So sex is like this beautiful energy that can bring things back into union. So we're going to talk about that. So and I think we're just going to go step by step. So let's start with your body, okay? Because this is flesh and bone. This is where we are. This is when you see people. This is where we're in our body. This is the vessel. So your relationship with your body, obviously, is what grounds you. It's what gets you. It's what makes you feel sexy. What makes you feel attractive. It's what makes you feel alive. Your body is what animates your entire life. You need your body in order to live. You need your body to perform certain functions in order to sustain you. You need your body to be in alignment and to be whole and complete, and you need to feel really good in your body in order to feel good in your emotions and to feel good in your life. So one thing that I noticed a couple years ago was that when I never noticed this before, but I was taking a shower, and I was at my dad's house for the summer. I was visiting him, and he has this abnormally large mirror in his bathroom. And so as I was in the bathroom and I was undressing and I was looking at myself, and kind of, you know how we do, like we contort our bodies, and we do these little poses, and we do these weird contortions in order to make certain parts of our body look more appealing, right? I was doing that, and something clicked in me where I was actually noticing that I was doing that. I was noticing that I was like, why am I doing this weird like movement, weird like posing with my body? And then I also noticed how I was feeling in my body. I was noticing that I was feeling tight. I was holding my breath. I was feeling like scared to let go. Like I was holding on to something. I was sucking in my belly. I was pulling my chest back. I was, again, like doing those weird contortions. Like I was feeling constriction. I was feeling I wasn't feeling at all comfortable in my body. So I noticed that, and I was as I was looking at myself, I noticed also the judgments, the thoughts that came up about my body, how my breasts were too saggy, my belly was too big and hanging, how, I looked frumpy, how I don't know, the rolls in my belly and the cellulite on my thighs and all of these things, right? All of these judgments. I'm too fat. I'm not, my boobs aren't perky enough. I I don't know, my butt is too flat. All of these really nasty, like judgmental things, maybe true, but that didn't feel good, right? It didn't feel like I was honoring my body or being empowered at all by having these thoughts. And of course, then I'm too fat, I'm too ugly, I'm not good enough, I need to lose weight, all of these self judging, self hating things. So for some reason, in that moment, something just clicked for me. I noticed what I was doing. I noticed that when I looked at myself, I wasn't just able to just like relax and like sit into my body and just notice what I was feeling, just appreciate, right, what I was seeing without judgment, without expectation. I noticed that I was holding it in. I was holding in, I was constricting, I was tightening, I was judging with my mind. So that's the first thing, is like that experience made me realize that like I have all of these things, these judgments, these beliefs about my body that I held on to that are really have affected over like my entire life how I feel about myself, how I feel about my body, how I hold myself. And at that time, I think I felt good about my body, but because when I noticed that, I was like, wow, I have a lot of, like, maybe I felt good about myself when I was covered up, but naked, no way. And even when they're covered up, it's like I have to cover it up in a certain way. I have to wear my bra in a certain way. I can't have my boobs just doing whatever, what boobs do. And my belly needed to be sucked in. I couldn't just have it just hanging out. And how much pressure and how much um, pain is in that, how little room for relaxation and little room for me to just be me and allow my body to be what it is, and little to no room for gratitude and appreciation and honor for this body that has birthed me through 3 children, right? That has allowed me to give birth to my 3 children, that has allowed me to live for 35 years pretty healthily, that has allowed me to experience joy, pleasure, amazing sex, amazing joy, laughter, loving my family, hugging people that I deeply care about, feeling ecstasy and even sadness, right? This body that has allowed me to hold despair and sadness and grief and anger. So that feeling, this relationship that I had with my body up until that point was very judgmental, was very self-hating and not honoring at all. So the same with you. And in this topic of empowered sexuality, your body is this vessel. Your body is the tool through which you're going to experience sex with yourself, with other people, just in life, and experience pleasure and experience joy and experience excitement and ecstasy and bliss when we think about sex, but also pain, right? And grief and sadness and all of the feelings that we feel. So, this honoring of your body, what are the things that come up for you when you look at your body in the mirror? What are the things that come up for you when you actually look at your body? What are the parts of your body that you appreciate? What are the parts of your body that you, every time you look at it, or every time you think of it or feel it, it's not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. And the thing that I'm noticing about sexuality, the more I dive deep into it and the more I experience deeper aspects of it, is that it's highly, like, super tied into your DNA. It's super tied into cellular memory and cellular functioning and aspects of all of that cellular information and coding and DNA and all of that that, like, we are not even aware of. But sexuality is what life is all about. So the reason I brought that up is because when you speak to those different aspects of your body, when you speak to the different parts of your body that you shame and that you judge and that you're criticizing, you're speaking those things into existence in your body. So you are having a relationship, even if it's not a good one, with that aspect. And you're creating the manifestation of that part. So it's kind of existential, it's kind of like woo woo out there, but this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about in sexual empowerment, and having right relation with your body and getting right with your body and getting into this place of honor and gratitude and appreciation. So what kind of things do you think about your body? What kind of things come up for you? And you're a woman because you're in this group and you're listening to this video. So if you're a woman, what about your cycles? What kind of relationship do you have with your moon cycles, with your period or your menstruation, right? Your fertility cycle. What kind of conditioning and what kind of things have you been brought up to believe about it? That it's a curse, right? That it's this thing that happens every month, that it's a burden, it's an inconvenience, it's messy, it's dirty, it's gross, like you bleed into a cotton, tampon or a pad, and then you throw it in the garbage and never want to look at it again. Like, what kind of relationship do you have with that part of you? And that part, this part that, like, is all about sexuality and it's all about creation and your creative energy and your creative force, that part of you, your womb space, your uterus, your cervix, all of those things, your ovaries, all of the reproductive organs, have this cycle, right? So it has this cycle of birth and death and regeneration and maturation, and then birth and death, and all, like, over and over again. So we are creatures of cycles. We are cyclical creatures. And so having this idea that, like, this sacred, very sacred is the best word I can think of, part of your body and the way that your body functions, and it's also a really powerful portal, right? Gateway into learning more about your own cycles, just emotional and spiritual, that we've shamed that and we've repressed it and we hide it and we feel guilty about it and we feel gross about it, and we've hidden it underneath, in the trash can and underneath our clothing and into things that we just throw away. We've made it this, like, throwaway thing that, like, I want to have it, do it, be done with it, and then wait 28 days or however long until my next cycle. So what's your relationship with that part of your being? Because it is an essential part of your being. And if you are a mother, or you want to be a mother, or, I mean, you're a woman, so you're going to have this cycle, but, like, if you want to enjoy sex at all, you need to be in tune and intuitively connected to this part of your being. You need to know, when am I fertile? When am I ovulating? When is that part of the 3 days, the 4 days of my cycle where I'm the most fertile, where I'm gonna get pregnant? Most likely, I should say, to get pregnant. where my sex can be like so good and amazing, and I can create a new life out of love and ecstasy and excitement. And when do I want to avoid that time, right? Or use different ways of enjoying sex during that time with a partner? And when are the times that I'm going to have my period, and am I going to learn how to enjoy sex during that time too? And then there's that, we'll talk more about partnership tomorrow, but then there's that beautiful like opening up to your own womanhood, to your own sacred um cycles, and then being able to just like fully own that and be empowered and like, this is who I am. I am a woman, and I bleed every month, and I'm fertile every month, and I have the ability to create life in so many ways, not just human but other. and and then sharing that with your partner, and then having a partner that like fully accepts that part of you, and that can be there with you with that. But you have to be there first. So what kind of relationship do you have to your monthly cycle, to your moon cycle, to your period? um that's like basic and important. And what kind of words and what kind of energy and what kind of feelings does it bring up with you? And if you have a like really hard time during that time of the month where you're bleeding, a lot of pain, a lot of cramping, a lot of emotional hardships, like emotional struggling, then there's wisdom in that. There might be something that you're holding on to. There are ways for you to shift that, to have a more pleasurable experience, to have a more honoring um and pleasurable, like I know a better way to say that, with that time of the month for you. And there's ways to navigate your hormones. There's ways to navigate, the way that you feel about it. And that's what I'm trying to get at, is if you ask these questions to yourself: what is my relationship with my period? How do I feel about this fact that I bleed every month? What does that mean for me? What does it mean about me? Does it mean I'm a dirty, like, horrible person? Does it mean I need to hide away in the shadows for 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, however long, until it's over? Do I need to be shamed and stay in bed? Like, what are these underlying, like, ancient, like, this stuff goes deep, and that's why I say it's in our DNA. Like, these beliefs that we have about our bodies and these beliefs that we have about ourselves go deep, deep, deep into like our ancestors, and the way that they were treated, and they were shamed, and the way that, patriarchal society has gleaned them as a woman, because of these things that are natural and are meant to be like beautiful and sacred and worshipped and honored. So what is your relationship with that? One thing now, like, since we're talking about period, is I wanted to talk about the language that we use around sexuality. And I had this conversation with a friend recently about the language, the words that we use about our genitals, right? Like our female parts. So, how do you refer to your vagina? Does the word pussy, does it trigger you? Does it turn you off? Does it make you feel icky and gross? Do you feel ashamed? So this conversation that I had with somebody, she was asking me, because she knew that like this is the work that I'm doing, and like, why does she feel weird when she says the word pussy? Why does the word pussy just weird her out? And it's because we've been conditioned. Like, what is the messages that you've received around that word? A lot of the times, right, it's a very derogatory term. Obviously, when you call somebody a pussy, it's like a negative term. So now, honestly, anytime I hear somebody say that or use that word, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with pussies, because they're beautiful, fucking amazing things. So a lot of this work is about reclaiming the language, reclaiming your body, reclaiming those parts, right? And the same goes with like with the male part, right? So dick or cock or whatever you want to call it. What does it feel like to say that? And when you're, and the way that I said it, or that I was relaying it, or the way that I think about it, It's like if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're into like talking, right? And you're into like talking about how you're feeling while you're making love. Are you going to say, "Oh, you make my vagina feel so good"? Like that doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right like at all. It just sounds weird. Um, and then honestly, for the for the vagina, what other words besides vagina or pussy? You could say yoni. Oh, you make my yoni. Oh, my yoni feels so good. I mean, you could say that. I personally don't resonate with yoni, but I totally get why somebody would, or I get the like the spiritual in the like the spiritual community why that's the word, and it's very like sacred and divine goddess. Like it reminds me of the goddess. But when I'm in the act, yoni is not what comes up for me. Like I like pussy and I want to be able to claim it, and I want to be able to say my pussy. Like I want to be able to use that word freely, and it means something to me, and it means an honor. It's an honor. It's a honoring the juicy, alive, sensual, life-giving qualities of that, and the way that I feel just tapping into that part of myself, the way that I feel when I connect to that part of my body and like really just like honor it and appreciate it in gratitude. Pussy is the word that comes for me. Oh, my pussy. And yeah, and honestly, I reclaim that word for myself. So anytime anyone around me is calling somebody a pussy, as in like you're a wimp or whatever, I say, what's wrong with pussies? And I reclaim it. Like I stand up for that word. So if that word triggers you, I invite you to explore why. And doesn't mean you have to change it. Doesn't mean you have to like that word. It doesn't mean that you have to decide, okay, that's the word I'm going to use. But like what's another word that you can use? And find something that like feels good. And it's not just like, oh, that's my vagina. Like that's the part of my body that is called a vagina, and it's very like it feels very like cut off at the head. It's very intellectual, it's very medical, and there's no feeling. There's no I say juice. There's no like juice. There's no like emotional connection or sensual connection to vagina. Not for me. And if there isn't for you either, but yet that's the only word that you can say, then that's something to look into. Where is the disconnect? What is it that what is missing there? And so like this is the work that I do, and that's why I'm doing this training. So be really aware. So like a lot of this is just awareness, because we've been repressed. We've been taught that like sex is dirty, or that sex is this one thing. You have male, female, the penis goes in the vagina and you make a baby, and it feels good sometimes, usually for the man, not always for the woman, but that's okay, because as long as the man gets off, then the seed will get into the woman and there will be a baby, so that's fine, right? And usually the man, as long as the man feels pleasure, then that's all that matters. Fuck no. This is all about owning and claiming, like, I'm a fucking woman, and it's not about you. It's not about another person. It's about you. It's about you as an individual, as a sovereign being. You get to feel pleasurable. You get to feel sexy and juicy and sensual and sexual without a partner. And all of this begins with getting really clear and getting really like honest with yourself about these things, about how you feel about your body, your breasts, your vagina, like the words that you're using, the words that you allow yourself to say about your period. Oh, it's such a pain in the ass. Oh, my period's here again. Oh, like I'm bleeding, so I can't do this, so I can't do that. But what can you do? There is sacred and ancient rituals around your period, and like around these cycles. It goes with the moon. If you follow the moon cycles at all, if you like to do moon rituals and follow what the full moon is or the new moon is, and it's all about endings and beginnings and manifestation and planting seeds and really and releasing old shit. That's what your period is for. That your period is like a tool. Your blood time, your moon time is like a tool for like using your spiritual resources, your spiritual gifts, to be able to release Release those things that are no longer serving you. Release those things that you don't want in your life anymore. Bring them up and out. Obviously that's like bring them down and out. Bring them down. Like let the earth take those things. Build your connection with the earth through your period. Like, these things are coming out of me now. I'm releasing this stuff. Your body's just doing it. Your body knows what to do. This is the thing about built this, like, first, I'm only on body right now. Your relationship with your body is so wise, and we've been cut off to it, like, so much. We haven't been taught to honor it. We haven't been taught to respect it. We haven't been taught to, like, love it like it should be loved, because it fucking loves us. It sustains us. It keeps us living and breathing. So, all of these things, your cycle, your moon cycle, it's a tool, and it's a gateway to get you in tune with your own spiritual essence, with your own spiritual cycles, with your gifts. So use them. Okay, but I'll try to stay on track. So this is all about your body, and it's about that. So yeah, what are your thoughts about your body? What are your thoughts about your moon cycle with your blood, with the different parts of your body? What kind of languaging are you using? What is your relationship to your yoni, to your vagina, to your pussy, however you want to say it? How do you feel about that part of you? You know, do you connect with it in a way that isn't to go to the bathroom or to clean up after a period or to have sex with? Like, do you feel your intuitive insights from your vagina? Did you know that just like there's this scientific knowledge that there's like a gut brain, right? That your gut has these like neurons and is connected to different parts of your brain, so it sends messages and it helps to with this like whole bodily function. There's like a second brain in your gut. There's also a third brain in your vagina, right? In your pussy. Your pussy has like so much knowledge, so much wisdom. Every experience that you've had, whether it's traumatic or pleasurable, every experience you've had with sex, anytime anything penetrates you, anytime you have an orgasm, anytime there's any stimulation of your genitals, you know, in that, or your clitoris or any part of that, your birthing, like if you've had given birth, there's all of that information is stored in there. And if you weren't able to release it or process it in any way, it just gets stored in there. So if there is this disconnect between, you know, your intellect and like the feeling, like feeling good in your pussy and in your vagina, and there's this disconnect between like, okay, this is my body, and like, okay, this is my vagina. If there's that disconnect there, then consider that there's some trauma that needs to get cleared and needs to get acknowledged, whether it's from sexual trauma, whether it's from giving birth, whether it's from just not knowing how to be pleasured in sex. Maybe you've had no actual like sexual trauma happen to you, but you don't enjoy sex. And every time you do it, because you are with somebody that you do care about and you love and they want sex and you just give it to them, every time you do that, you're traumatizing yourself. And you're holding on to that, and it gets stored inside there. And so you keep doing that, and you keep not giving attention to that, and not trying to figure out, okay, how do I make this pleasurable? How do I awaken that part of me? You're just going to keep re-traumatizing, and you're going to just keep that disconnection. Okay, that's your body. So get clear. You have to be like be aware of these things that are going on in your body. This is what the key to like awakening any kind of sexual pleasure, or any kind of like feeling enjoyment, feeling any kind of pleasure of just being you in your body. You need to be aware of these things. Okay, so your relationship with your emotions. And if you know me at all, you know that I talk about this a lot. And your emotional energy, right? Again, this is another part of your like life force energy. Your emotional energy really informs, it animates your it animates your life, it animates your being. And it provides a lot of wisdom and knowledge. It gives feedback to like what's going on. Um, and if you don't allow yourself to fully feel your feelings, which many of us don't, many of us have not allowed ourselves to do that. We've been, again, taught to repress, taught to ignore, taught to um, numb, or just push away. I'm going to put that away and then focus on either better thoughts, or I'm not going to address this really scary thought or feeling because it's uncomfortable or it makes other people uncomfortable. So I'm just going to, whatever it is, right? I'm just going to pretend like I'm happy. I'm going to put on the happy face and I'm not going to really feel my feelings. So feeling your feelings, really allowing yourself to feel sadness, allowing yourself to cry those tears of like years and years and years of repression and sadness and suppression of that sadness. I recently, from doing all of this work, have felt like tears of like what felt like me at 5 years old. Okay? Feelings that like I didn't feel like I could express then come up now. That stuff gets stored in your body. It gets stored in there. So allowing yourself to feel your feelings, allowing yourself to feel anger, allowing yourself to feel joy and excitement. This is one thing for me that has been a journey, has been like work, is to like really just allow myself to be excited about things. Like my life is fucking awesome. Like I have so many amazing things happening, and like owning that, not feeling like shame and guilt for like saying like my life is awesome. Like how sad is that I feel guilty about being excited about my life? And I totally get why, and it's because I care and I don't want other people to feel bad, but it's not even a deserve, it's like I get to own my feelings. I get to own my excitement and my joy. And just as much as I get to own my anger or my sadness or my grief. So this relationship with your feelings, how much are you open to allowing yourself to just feel whatever it is you're going to feel? And I'm not talking about like, oh, she's overly emotional and blah, blah, blah. Like there can be this where we feel too much, but it's only because we're skimming the surface, right? If we feel like we're feeling all the time, like I just feel so much all the time, many of us do. Women, we're empathic. A lot of us, that if you're following me, then you're probably an empath. You're probably some kind of like, spiritual, not psychic, but spiritual empath. You feel feelings, you feel deeply, like, and you might not be able to sort through it. And so that's valid. The thing is that the key is to be able to feel it and then just let it keep coming out and keep expressing until it's done. Like breast milk, right? You just keep expressing that shit. You keep like letting it come out. You keep pushing. You keep feeling. You keep letting the baby suck from your nipple until it's all gone, right? Because it will eventually run out, and then it like refills. And that's the key, is like I need to give myself 20 minutes at least, because if you've been holding this shit in for like 50 years then there's going to be more than 20 minutes. But you can give yourself little pockets of time. I'm going to give myself the next 20 minutes, and I'm just going to sit in whatever feelings come up. And if I feel like I need to cry, I'm going to cry. If I feel I need to hit a pillow, I'm going to hit a pillow. If I need to get a bat and start hitting my bed, I'm going to do that. If I feel like I need to scream, I'm going to do that. Rage, sacred rage, is something that I know a lot of women like need to express. This again, DNA shit. This is all like ancestor. This is from like years, way back. This like holding in of emotion, holding in of pain, and we get it too. So part of this is also clearing this shit out so that our kids, our progeny, I don't know why that word came up, but like our kids don't have to deal with this. Our kids get to experience better. They get to experience more freedom than we have because we're working on freeing ourselves now. So emotional freedom, emotional release is something that I really talk a lot about, not only in this work around sexuality, but just in my one-on-one coaching and my empowerment, my women's empowerment. That's what I talk about, because by releasing, by really like owning your feelings, like, okay, I'm gonna own, this is how I feel, this is how I feel, this is how I feel, constantly checking in with yourself. How do I feel right now? Because we can get in this mode of just go, 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 do, move, move, move. And I know, because I'm a busy mom of three, I'm running my own business, and I'm homeschool. So I'm fucking on all the time. And if I don't take a moment to just like sit, it's like literally it could take like 10 seconds. How do I feel right now? And you can do it with me. Just, how do I feel right now? And you can put your hand, I like to put my hand to my heart. Right now I'm actually feeling kind of calm. So, but sometimes I will do that. I will check in with myself, and then tears immediately want to like come up. I can feel myself like wanting to cry because I haven't been given myself that space to just like really, okay, how do I feel right now? And you have to give yourself space. Once you do that, you'll feel the things that need to come up, but you have to actually give yourself that space. So your relationship with your emotions, super important. And then I promise you, once you start doing that, once you start moving your emotions, start having your feelings, start feeling your feelings, start sharing them with others, and start like it opens up this channel. It opens up this channel of energy. And oh my god, when you start moving that, your ability to like experience your sexuality and experience your orgasmic pleasure and just like life, the life force energy inside you, it gets so much easier because that channel is more open. It gets so much, open and free, and you start feeling things. You start feeling things that you haven't felt before, and in ways that you haven't felt before. It's like everything that you felt up until this point is just like the tip of the iceberg, and there's like, it's like the just the tip, and like there's so much more to experience. Start moving that energy. Start moving that energy, and the same goes with your body. What's your relationship with your body? It's about awareness, right? But it's also about moving it. Okay, so now I know when I look at my boobs and I look at my breasts, like I'm like, oh, they could be smaller, they could be bigger, they could be, perkier, they could be whatever. Um, start moving them. Start moving them, and then watch yourself in the mirror moving those breasts, right? Just start doing this, undulating. I don't know if you can see me, but just like a belly dancer. Start moving that shit. And just by you watching yourself, observe how you feel just watching yourself. Where before maybe there was judgment. I'm just going to keep doing this. Maybe before there was judgment and self-hate and criticism, but you start moving your body, right? And then if you can just feel, even before you start looking in the mirror, just feel the movements, right? Just feel from the inside, and then slowly moving out, just feeling your body moving, undulating like a serpent around the staff. And then start playing with watching yourself in the mirror, or watching your shadow on the wall, right? Play with the light. Put the light on you, watch the shadow of you moving on the wall, and notice what that feels like in your body, but also what your mind goes to. Does that look sexy? That's interesting. I like the way my hips move when I do this. I like the way my nipples point out when I go like that. I like the way it looks on the wall. It starts to become an art. Your body starts to become this like canvas for art, for creativity, for play, for passion, for life. And this is, this is what I live. Like I've gotten to this point, and I go back and forth sometimes. But I've gotten to this point where like I get to play with myself like this. I get to like see my shadow on the wall and then start playing. Nobody has to know. Nobody has to see you. Nobody has to see you do anything, any of this. Nobody has to know that you look at yourself for an hour a day in the mirror while touching yourself, maybe. You know? Appreciating the fucking beauty that you are. Nobody has to know any of that. But this is what it's about. This is what sex is about. This is what your sex with you is about. Okay. I just feel like I'm just do this the whole time. You can't even really see me, but okay. So, your relationship with your mindset and your beliefs. I kind of already talked about this with the body, right? And also with the emotions a little bit. But your mindset is like the pivotal, like the beginning of all of this, right? It's the foundation to all of this, because your thoughts and your beliefs, your mindset is the subconscious layer. It's the underlying layer that is the foundation for all of your thoughts, your beliefs, your ideas, your feelings. So everything that you do, everything that you are, underneath all of that is your thoughts and your beliefs about who you are and what you can do. So if you believe that sex is dirty, if you believe that sex is like meant, for what happens in the bedroom between a man and a woman, and you believe that it's, a shameful thing to feel sexy in your body, it's a shameful thing to look at yourself in the mirror and actually like and maybe appreciate what you see. If you believe that the word pussy is disgusting and you never want to hear it, and anybody who says it should go to hell. If you believe that your body is fat, too small, or too thin, or whatever it is, right? That your boobs are too big, that your butt is too small, that your feet are too crooked, whatever. That is going to inform everything else, right? And yeah, so that's going to inform everything else. If you believe that having feelings makes you weak, if you believe that like if I feel sad that I'm never going to get out of it, I'm going to feel sad forever. All of that informs everything. So you're getting your mindset straight. Really being aware of those thoughts. You have to be aware of those thoughts. Like, what is actually coming up for you? What actually comes up for you when you look at yourself in the mirror? What actually comes up for you when you even think about potentially maybe actually feeling all of the sadness that you've felt in your life? Crying into the arms of your partner, of somebody who really cares about you. Maybe it could just be a friend who like gets this work, right? And who understands that like, yeah, people need to feel their feelings. So here, I'll give you 10 minutes. Whatever you need to feel, I'm going to be here for you. What comes up for you? What are the thoughts that come? What shame? What feelings? What thoughts? What beliefs? This also has to do with, anything around money and love and pleasure and orgasm and sex in general. Like, what ideas and beliefs about all of those things come up? Because money is with love. If you can't like be open to love in your life, then you're not going to be able to receive the money that wants to come to you. If you can't be open to orgasm, then pleasure probably is going to be very limited for you. If orgasm is something that's scary, or maybe that you've never felt before and you don't really know how, and you might want to, but you think you can live without it, then you're not going to experience your full potential for pleasure, or your full potential for love, or your full potential for money. It's all related. It's all life. It's all life force energy. So, being open to experience and to receive all of these things is really crucial. And if you're not, maybe go one by one. What are my thoughts about? What are my underlying beliefs about money? What are my money and like what it is and what it means if I have it, or what it means if I don't have it? What are my underlying beliefs about love and what that is, and if I deserve it, and what it means if I have it, or what it means if I don't? And pleasure, what does it mean to have pleasure, to experience pleasure, and what does it mean if I don't, and what if it means if I do? And the same with orgasm, and the same with sex. What does it mean to be sexy? What does it mean to be a sexual being? What does it mean if I'm not? What does it mean if I am? Really identifying these beliefs, really identifying and going deep into like, what what are my limiting beliefs around these things? What are things that, like, when I think about them, like, stop me in my track or make me feel constricted? So that story that I told about me looking at my body and feeling like tightness and like weird contortion and like feeling like I needed to do like weird things, that's all limiting beliefs. That's all like stuff stuck in my body, stuck in my belief system about my body. So what kind of things make you feel tight, make you feel constricted, make you feel stuck and suffocated when it comes to those things? And then, so identifying them and then clearing them. So there are ways to do that. And I guess since this is a training, then I can talk about basically one way is really writing down the beliefs that you have. I believe that I am not sexy. I believe that I don't deserve love. Okay, let's go with that. I believe that I don't deserve love. I believe that I don't deserve to feel the full pleasure of love, of being loved by somebody. Okay, let's go with that. I don't feel like I deserve to feel the full pleasure of being loved by someone else. So you write that down and you feel what that feels like to read that. I do not deserve to feel the full pleasure of what it feels like to be loved by somebody. What does that feel like to read that? How do you feel in your body? Start to like journal this stuff or just become aware of like how you're feeling. It feels really shitty. I don't deserve to be loved by somebody. I don't deserve to feel the full pleasure of being loved by somebody. It feels really shitty. It feels really gross. It feels like I'm not good enough. It feels like I'll never be good enough. It feels like I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. And then you can start to dive into like, how has this affected you? How has this affected all of like the choices that you made in your life, the partners that you've had? Have you chosen partners that haven't been available to you because you feel like you didn't deserve somebody who actually loved you? What are some of the missed opportunities for pleasure and for fun and for like feeling really juicy and alive that you've missed because of this belief? Really get clear on that stuff, because when you get clear on that, then you get to feel the pain of it. And not unfortunately, but you want to feel the pain of that limiting belief in order to get to the next step, which is decide. Do I want to believe this? Do I want to hold on to this belief anymore? I don't deserve to feel the full pleasure of being loved by somebody. I don't deserve the full pleasure of being loved by somebody else. Do I want to feel that? Is that actually the belief that I want to hold now for the rest of my life? Now that you're aware of that belief, you get to decide whether or not you're going to keep it or release it. So you identify the belief, and then you decide whether or not you're going to keep it, and then you get to clear it. And in order to clear it, it depends on what works for you. But honestly, you could write it down, make a decision, and then burn it. Very intentionally, like, make sure you feel the burning of that thing. You could use your moon cycle, talking about honoring your cycles. You get to use your blood. You could use your blood in order to release that. As you're bleeding, just think about this belief that you've had. I don't deserve to feel the full pleasure of love. And as you're bleeding, you feel yourself releasing that. Like, really, it can be as simple, it can be as intimate as that. Move your body and really, dance. You could dance it out. There's so many ways you could do it. You could just journal it out. I release this belief, period. Burn it, done. The thing is that then you have to keep, that belief will keep coming up now that it's up at the surface. Like, if you think of our consciousness as like water, now that it's on the surface, it's just going to keep like coming up, like as the iceberg is going to keep coming up and coming up and coming up until it's gone. So you have to keep reaffirming this. I decide to not believe this anymore. I released you, and you have to keep releasing it until it's just no longer there. Or it's no longer such an issue as it was before. So that's your relationship with your mindset, your relationship with all of those beliefs that we talked about, all of those beliefs that you're identifying, and then you get to decide if you want to hold on to them or not. And then, okay, so after that, after you clear them, you decide, and then you cleared them, whether it's burning, whether it's doing it through your own body, through movement, through affirmation. I release this belief that blah, blah, blah. Then what you want to do is you want to install a new one. So that whole idea that like the universe doesn't like a vacuum or something, right? There's a saying like that. Basically, if there's a hole, it wants to fill it. Okay, so you got rid of this belief. You're releasing this belief. So now we got to fill it with something. So take that belief. I don't deserve the full pleasure of being loved by somebody. Okay, what do you actually believe, and what do you want to instill in yourself? It's like your brain is like a program. It's like a computer, and you're just putting programs into it or taking them out. I believe, right? I am worthy of deep, passionate, intimate love. I am worthy of deep, passionate, intimate love. I am worthy of deep, passionate, intimate love. And then you get to play with instilling that in you, programming your body, your mind, your heart with that. And again, dance. You can do it through ritual. You can do it through the moon cycles on a full moon or a new moon. I believe I am worthy of deep, passionate, intimate love. I am worthy of deep, passionate, intimate love. You can write it like 5,000 times every day. You can write it 5 times a day in your journal every single day for like until it just becomes like I'm fucking worthy, and then you know it. Write it on your wall, put it on post-its, put it all around you, write it on your body. I got these body markers because I wanted to start doing this. I wanted to start putting words and affirmations on my body so that they're like right there, so that I can see them, and like there's there. So you can do that. So however works for you. What are the new beliefs that you want to? I am worthy of deep, passionate, intimate love. I am worthy of that shit. And then own it. And then own it, and then own it, and keep deciding that I am worthy of deep, passionate, intimate love. I am worthy of deep, passionate, intimate love every single fucking day, every single time you think of it, and then get excited about it, just like I am right now. I am fucking worthy of deep, passionate, intimate love. Fuck yeah, I am. Of course I am. I am worthy of that shit. Until it's like, that's you now. You are no longer the person who believes that you don't deserve to feel the full pleasure of somebody else's love. You are no longer the person who believes that you are not worthy of being loved by somebody. You are now the person who is fucking, yeah, you're fucking worthy of deep, passionate, intimate love. Okay, so play with this. This gets to be fun. It gets to be pleasurable. That's what this whole process of like reprogramming and feeling your feelings and starting to fall back in love with your body and this beautiful vessel that has like created your life for you. It gets to be fun, and it gets to be exciting, and it gets to be sensual, and it gets to be sexual. And the sexual part is all of that. Sex is not about sex. Like, it's not whatever the ideal is that we've made it out to be. It's about pleasure, and it's about fun, and it's about enjoying your fucking life. It's about really finding joy from the inside, from deep inside. And the reason it's sex, and the reason to talk about sex, is because that's deep. That shit goes deep in your womb, in your and in your heart. So those two aspects, sex pierces both of those. We don't talk about the heart, but it does, and we'll talk about that more in the next 2 days. But it's about really coming, like piercing that, kind of like an oil well when you drill and you go deep so that you can like hit that source of oil, and then it just all comes gushing out. That's like what sex is like you want to pierce that membrane, like not the real one, but like you want to pierce that in order for like all the juiciness, the gushiness, the like awesome, exciting, pleasurable passion, it comes out. So yeah, have fun with all of that. And honestly, I don't know how long I've been going, so okay, about an hour. All right. Honestly, that's all I've got for you guys for today. Your sex is all about you. It starts with you, it ends with you. It's about you and how you feel in your body. It's about you and how you feel as a person in this life, as you. It's about how you feel in your body. It's about how you feel your feelings and experience your emotions. It's about your mindset and your beliefs about what sex is and what it isn't, and what feeling pleasure is and what it isn't. And it's about all of that. And it all begins with you. And you have to get right with you. So sex is all about relationships, but that relationship begins with you. It's like you and you. And your relationship with you. Before your relationship with anybody else, it's all about you. And yeah, you get to have fun with it. You get to play around with these beliefs. You get to play around with like these different feelings. You get to play with your body. It's your fucking body. Like, play with it. Love it. It wants your attention. And it wants you to honor it and to love it because it loves you and it's served you well. So yeah, I have a I don't know what I would call it, a guide. I have a guide for today. It's kind of very short, like little bullets about what I talked about today, and then also some journaling and reflection questions. Um, Again, to go deeper into these things that I talked about. Um, how do you feel when you look at yourself? Are you open to receiving compliments and open to receiving praise from other people? Or do you kind of shut down when that happens? What kind of thoughts and limiting beliefs come up for you around your body, around who you are, and how you are in the world? What are some patterns and conditioning that you keep repeating, right? That you are aware of, that you're starting to become aware of, that you want to let go of. So if you want that guidebook and those journal prompts and that reflection guide, let me know. What I want you to do, if you do want that, is I want you to send me a message, PM me, and let me know what you got out of this whole training. Out of day one, your sex and you, your relationship with you, what was like your biggest takeaway from this? So that's one thing. One thing is, what is your biggest takeaway from this? And the second thing is, what are you interested in learning more about? So what is one thing that I talked about that you're like, ooh, I'd like to know more about that? And then just send me that through instant or through personal message, and then I will send you this guide. It'll be a download. Send you that PDF guidebook for today. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining. Like I said, I hope this like served you. I hope that you got something out of this. I know I didn't like really talk about like sex per se. I did. I fucking talked about sex the whole entire time, but our idea of what sex is. So I hope this at least was a good beginning to this whole series that I'm doing the next 2 days now. And if you want that PDF guide, just message me, let me know what you took away and what it is that you want to know more about. And yeah, I hope this served you. I hope that you got something out of this. I'm so pleased and like excited to be able to share this with you all. And yeah, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I look forward to your questions, your comments, and anything you ask on here I will respond to. So, put anything in the comments, let me know what your questions are, and I will answer them. And I will see you all tomorrow for day 2. All right, guys, take care. Much love.